Sunday, the Hardy Boys in a race with death. Then, a visitor from beyond all galaxies.
Who are you?
A demonic messiah with the power of life and death.
This man is some kind of a god.
Is this the end or a new beginning for Battlestar Galactica?
Houston, make sure you subscribe to the Word Balloon podcast, become a legal Word Balloon listener at patreon.com/wordballoon. I just want to tell you how to copy.
Welcome back, everybody. Time again for Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Stuntress here. I love talking about good science fiction and good television. And man, we're in a I don't know what the hell's going on, but at least timing wise, unbelievable shows are happening right now. And tonight we're going to be talking about Spider Noir with Nicolas Cage on Amazon Prime, and also the first two episodes of Star City, the companion show to For All Mankind, began on Apple. We'll get into Star City in a minute, but I knew I was going to be talking about astronauts, and immediately my thought went to Astronauts in Trouble, a fantastic early 2000s graphic novel that was written by my guest today. Here he is, everybody. It's Larry Young. Welcome back, my man. Good to see you.
Hey, John. Thanks for having me, man. I was telling my wife that. I was like, I always enjoy talking to you. You know that. And whether it's here or on our show, it's like, it's so fun, like that we can do both things. And I said, hey, John wants to talk about Star City, so I have to catch that. And she was, oh yeah. And I go, yeah, I'm the astronaut guy.
It's true.
So
it's
pretty fun. You know, a lot of people get saddled with something that's not positive, and I just love being an astronaut guy. Some old, bald, overweight guy with shitty eyesight is the astronaut guy? Yes, please.
Well, as we know, in New Trek, that is possible. We don't have to pass the physical anymore.
Yeah,
all we got to do is show up.
I could marry Tilly or something, right? We'd be be a cute couple.
But she slimmed down again. If you saw her on not only on Academy, but I've seen her on some red carpet things, and she's she was pregnant. I mean, and I think that's one of the reasons why she was on Discovery less time and everything as the seasons progressed.
Yeah.
But whatever.
We saw her in The Residence.
Yes.
And she's fantastic. I kind of was like, boy, they did not do that woman any favors.
No,
they didn't give her anything cool to do. I feel badly that she became like sort of the punchline for everything that's wrong with that show.
Yeah, well, she's got her fans as far as the people that do like New Trek.
Yeah.
So I think she's okay. But no, it always comes down to the writing, Larry, and that's going to be that's always the theme as far as I'm concerned. Is the writing good? The effects don't have to be good. I suffered through decades of Doctor Who and cardboard sets and crazy shit like that, and stuffed animal monsters, literally. That's okay. If the writing is good, we don't care. But you mentioned your show, of course, Dork Court, everybody on YouTube. Is it still Dork Court or no?
Yes. Yeah. Well,
all right.
Well, Walker and I started it just a father-son mess around during the coronavirus. Yeah. And then when She-Hulk came out, I was getting sad about the fan reception to that. And so we had a website, the Dork Court website, for articles and stuff. And Mimi was like, you should just get on there and because it takes you a long time to craft something, and you just want to tell these people to shut up, they're wrong. So just do that. And so we did it, and everybody loved it.
No, I like She-Hulk. No. I mean, I understood some of the complaints about it, but I love Tatiana Maslany.
Yeah,
and Orphan Black was just so amazing, and I thought she was good as Jennifer.
I thought that show was spectacular, but I read the comic, and so I was like, holy crap, they really reproduced the experience of reading that particular comic.
I agree.
And it's like when John Carter came out, no one was impressed because it was 100-year-old story that everybody had ripped off for 100 years. So it just kind of looked like an amalgam of other people's stuff when it was that everyone else stole from that. And I kind of got that impression from some of the newer fans, that didn't have a history with the character, that it's like, no, Deadpool didn't invent breaking the fourth wall. But John Byrne kind of did in comics, like that all happened first. I don't know.
No, I agree.
And I guess Deadpool, what's the problem with She-Hulk? And it's just, well, you're an incel and you don't like girls.
And I mean, of course, the EC comics with the various hosts breaking the fourth wall as well to introduce.
Of course, that and I like they did that with a DC first issue special. Every once in a while, they'd have like these weird contextualized things that were just talking to the reader. I really enjoyed it. But
absolutely,
yeah. For all mankind. And Spider Noir, that kind of speaks to Spider Noir for us being old, sort of. I loved Buck Rogers season 2. You know what I mean? That's what I
was poor. Yeah, Buck Rogers season 2. I loved Hawk.
Exactly.
He was amazing.
And his wife and the ships and
all that. But I mean, it really was poor man's Star Trek. I mean, it's so funny. I literally just grabbed season 1 of Buck.
Oh yeah,
and mostly for the 2-parters and the episode where all the fighter pilots are down and Peter Graves, Woody Strode, and of course the great Buster Crabbe show up in a squadron to save the day, and he's Colonel Gordon. And of course we know that he was also the original Buck Rogers on film, and it's Gil Gerard and Buster Crabbe killing aliens, and it's like, that's fantastic. I'm in.
That episode I remember from when I first watched it. I have not seen it again, but I completely remember Buster Crabbe turning to Gil Gerard and going, "Okay, son, I've been doing this since before you were born." And I squeed all over my shag-covered 1970s living room.
And of course, Buck being 500 years old is like, you think so?
Yeah.
And Buster Crabbe goes, "Young man, I know so."
I know so. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
No,
anyway,
I met Buster Crabbe.
That's what we're used to, right? With the crappy special effects. And I love Spider Noir. Everybody said about the Punisher thing. Oh, the digital face replacement is ass. I'm like, you people are out of your goddamn minds. And so having Nicolas Cage swing through, a cityscape where they had to mask out the, modern stuff, and it looks kind of like matte painty. Like, that's what you want. That is the verisimilitude for that sort of project. And I'm just so happy that Nicolas Cage got like we said, the story's important. Like, he was Ghost Rider, he was fine, but it wasn't really a good set of movies.
I agree.
And then they set up Superman, and okay, but like, he's got Superman. That doesn't.
Yeah, I did not want to. I was relieved that Kevin Smith's Superman with Nick Cage didn't happen. I like the John Schnepp documentary that Schnepp made before he passed away, and I think it's really interesting. But I am relieved, and I even did need his little cameo in the Flash movie and stuff like that.
I was great.
This though, I mean, this is Nicolas Cage. Everything, all of his strengths on display, and this to me reminds me of like when Travolta in Pulp Fiction. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, John Travolta's actually good."
Right. The thing I enjoy is that finally he's got a role that fits to his strengths, like you noted. Like, this is it's a kind of a weird idea, and so you get kind of the weird guy who gets weird ideas, and you tell him, "Hey, you're Spider-Man in the 30s." He's like, "Okay, I got this." Like, I don't think you needed to pitch that to him. He's like,
but like,
oh, okay.
And even in previous roles like Affliction, when he's playing two guys, brothers, or not Affliction, Adaptation.
Yeah, I knew.
Yeah, things like that. Affliction was Nick Nolte, of course. But But yeah, I mean, because the confusion, the way and again, everybody, I've got the banner up. Spoilers. If you haven't, I'm sure you're watching it. If you haven't finished it, I don't know if we'll necessarily hit the end or not, but we might, because really there are so many great things about it. And again, like we can focus just on Nick right now and how great he was in it. And yeah, man, I mean, he's like a baseball player. He's a 300 hitter. I'd say a third of his movies are good, a third are just okay, and a third are shit. And that's okay. It happens. But like he was great at
That's a great career, though, right?
Yeah. Well, but again, how good, you're only as good as your last movie. And I know that Pig movie that he made got critically acclaimed. Yeah. I didn't see it.
I'm one of those weird cats that I enjoy that Nicolas Cage exists. And I'm glad he makes the films he does. But I don't go see him because I'm a Nicolas Cage fan. I go see them because I'm interested in a weird take that he's doing on, like Gone in 60 Seconds, or, there was this one weird movie. I don't remember what it was called. And I worked at a pharmaceutical place, and I worked in a class 100 clean room. So for 4 hours in the day, we would formulate this stuff, and then we get a 2-hour lunch and another 4 hours to formulate a second thing. And like, it was a great job for somebody like me, because I could just like not talk to people for 8 hours a day. But that 2-hour lunch, there was a movie theater right across the street. So like I would see a movie like 5 times a week. Like I went to see Judge Dredd and Tank Girl in back-to-back 2 days. And I was just like, I have the best job in the world. This is great. But I went to go see a Nicolas Cage movie that it's sort of like, I forget what it was called. And it was so weird. It was something like Evolution. It was a one-word title, but it was like the world was sort of dying in this strange, like, sort of way. And he figures it out at the end and ascends to heaven. That's the only thing I could remember. And I don't remember this got that imperfectly. But like, he makes these weird ass movies that make an impression on you. And so you get like a Nicolas Cage vibe going in your head. And it's as a fan. And it's like, I remember stuff like Drive Angry, because I would have loved that movie no matter who was in it. But it really elevated because it was him.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about Spider Noir. I would have loved every single thing about this, but the fact that it was him just puts it over the top.
I completely agree. And again, he's shown he's funny in Honeymoon in Vegas, for example, in Moonstruck. And he's great. What's that?
Raising Arizona, he's quite funny.
Absolutely, Raising. I'm glad you brought it up. And he can handle, like, Leaving Las Vegas is amazing dramatically.
Yeah.
And plays crazy fantastically. Face Off and other things. It's like, so, and that's what I'm saying. Like, every Nicolas Cage box was ticked for this movie because it made sense for the character. That Ben Reilly is not does not get his powers the same way as Peter Parker does, which is great. And by the way, finally, Sony, other than making Spider-Man movies, actually made a good superhero thing. So, and I know it's the Spider-Verse, but as opposed to the Andrew Garfield misfires, and needing Marvel for the Tom Holland movies, and Craven sucks. Madam Web or whatever the fuck it was sucked. Morbius sucked. They all suck.
Walker and I were just talking about that. He said, "Are you going to tell Mr. Suntrace that you like Craven?" And I'm like, probably not.
That's all right. Where nobody should feel bad about a shitty movie. I like Nick Cage's movie that it's with him and Téa Leoni, where he's the rich guy, and then she was his high school sweetheart, and Don Cheadle's the angel, and like, well, here's what your life would have been if you married her. And he goes from being like high-powered like lawyer guy to like assistant manager in a tire store. And it's I can't remember the name of it. Maybe somebody in the chat will remember. But it's of course. I like it, and it works. It's like I said, it's a Wonderful Life in reverse. And it's okay. And I love Téa Leoni, so any reason to watch her for 2 hours, I'm in. But that's why it's like, no, this again, so don't feel bad about Craven. And really, shame on me. It looked too stupid. I haven't even seen it, and I'm judging the movie.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, I'm not a giant Spider-Man fan. My kid is, and so he's like, "You want to watch Craven?" I'm like, these Sony movies without Spider-Man suck. And he goes, well, "I just have a feeling about this one because I think of all of the characters, Craven might be able to hold a story by himself."
Sure.
And so that set the tone for me. And I'm like, well, let's see. Let's try to watch this without any preconceived notions, and I'll pretend I don't know who Craven is. And I loved it doing that.
Okay.
Because it's so different, but it hangs together. And what I really enjoyed about it is that it was the one Sony Spider-Man world movie that hangs together with a logical consistency. And so it speaks to the writing part, right? It's like, It makes sense. It has a beginning, middle, and end. It's not trying to do anything else except entertain you. And that the actor, I forget the guy, he played Quicksilver.
I forget his name too.
He was great. Every time he was on screen, you believe that he was a guy doing a thing. You know what I mean? Which sometimes watching a film in the theater or your living room, it's worse in your living room. You kind of get the idea. You just, hey, I'm watching an entertainment that's been produced for my, sole enjoyment. And the thing I liked about Craven is like, if you just buy, he's a Russian big game hunter that has a dark past. I'm like, this is great. I really enjoyed it. And like, I think his dad was somebody like super famous, like Russell Crowe or something. And I was like, what is he doing in this movie? But just elevating it by his presence. He comes in and goes, yes, this Fortress of Solitude that you've done, like Marlon Brando. You're like, oh, I get why you got $2 million because you just made Fortress of Solitude sound like something serious, and it's like, and that's what they were paying him for. It's like
credibility.
Yes, exactly. A little gravitas on my screen. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what you bring. I think that all the time. You bring the gravitas. I'm not kidding.
No, I know.
You'll have like some crazy guy on, and you'll be like, yes. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, John just contextualized that with like a sentence. And like, you know what you're doing, man. I love that you're in the Radio Hall of Fame.
No. Well, you're a broadcaster, man. Again, 30 years of Chicago broadcasting. I learned something. And so I appreciate that. Yeah. But no, man, let's talk about the movie. I think Noir. All right, first of all, the story was great. I don't think it should have been. I saw a couple, first of all, I wanted to scan the usual suspect haters and go, okay, what do you find wrong about this? And I won't name names. I'll tell you off the air. But a couple, the worst thing I heard, and it wasn't that bad, was I kind of felt like in the middle, it deviated from the main story and whatever. I didn't feel that way. I thought, and others have said it could have been done in a 2-hour movie. And I'm like, I really didn't see it that way. I think this was the right length.
Yes, but why would, if it was so enjoyable, why would you want a quarter of enjoyment? Give me all the enjoyment,
Yeah. Yes. And again, I liked what an opportunity for all the character actors, because by the way, that's the other thing. Great. A lot of superhero movies, they're like Benetton ads. Everybody's beautiful. It's all Brad Pitts and name your favorite young. It's as we know, Gosling going to do Starfighter next year, and all the pretty people. And this has a bunch of ordinary people. This is why I always loved one of our favorite shows, Barney Miller, because everybody looked like a real person off the street.
I think that really speaks to the project, though. Like whoever the casting director was got it, because that's what happened in the 30s, right? They didn't have a bunch of pretty people. Like up until the 60s, Walter Matthau was a leading man. Think about that for a minute,
Yep.
And then we just lost that in the recent times. But I don't know. I think Ryan Gosling's actually going to mature into an old kind of craggy guy like that.
Oh no, he's like
he's a good-looking guy, but boy, that guy disappeared.
He's a good actor,
roles,
No, it's like Brad Pitt. Where Brad Pitt's still beautiful, but now he's a mature, beautiful guy. And Clooney, so it's okay. I'm not against. Listen, I'm not against beautiful people being. That was a good pose. Being in. Max Factor should have snapped a picture just then. No, I'm not against beautiful people being in movies, but this is the Depression. It's 1930s New York, and really it's about the working class. And that's the other thing I love about not only his character, but everybody in the movie. I mean, it's really just popular. Now, the woman that plays Black Cat is outstanding and stunning, and really was like absolutely great and perfect as a femme fatale. The whole shot and the homages to noir. My friend is like, "Well, that's real noir." I'm like, "No, real noir is from the 40s through the 50s. Right. Even in the 60s, they called it neo-noir." I'm like, "No, it's an homage, and it's a brilliant homage."
Right.
And also, I loved that Nick Cage, because of the transformation, is watching movies to feel more human and act more human.
Yeah.
And they are so deliberate when they show that Cagney scene. And also when he says, nothing beats a hot dog at the ballpark. It's better than steak at the Ritz. That's a Bogart line from a record about baseball.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was, but I knew that was a reference from something. And I loved how Nicolas Cage was talking. I read some press. He said it was 70% Bogart and 30% Bugs Bunny, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
And a nice actor thing to say. But it didn't come across to me that way. He was talking his own like mid-Atlantic 1930s kind of patter thing. And I loved every choice. Your buddy who said that it's not noir, that's real noir. It's real noir tropes. Right?
Yes,
like,
of course.
and they did it perfect. So I wouldn't have corrected him, but at my brain, I would have went, well, that's spider noir. That's what that is.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's really, and again,
I'm a kind of noir.
I'm a snob when it comes to this stuff. I'm a snob about comedy. I'm a snob about old movies. And it's like, no, you don't understand. I go, and it's great that they recreated it. And all right, well, first of all, I got to ask you, I watched it both ways midway through. I started on black and white, and I'm like, I saw the trailers and I saw the color trailers. So I'm like, let me see what it looks like in color. And I will make this observation. It's like a reverse mirror of Dick Tracy, because if you watch it in color, it's not as vibrant as that 90s Warren Beatty, Dick Tracy movie was, but it's close, and the colors absolutely pop. And then when you see them back in black and white, there's like a lot of oranges and greens that look great when you shoot it in black and white instead. But a lot of primary colors. And even at one point, when you see all the supervillains kind of gather, I'm like, wow, this really does feel like Tracy's Rogues in Dick Tracy for a second. But then it believes in its reality and it takes itself seriously. So black and white or color for you?
I didn't watch it in color. I kind of don't care, because I want this to be black and white in my memories forever, Sure. I've seen clips online, and it's like, Walker and I watched the scene, and he turns to me and goes, "What do you think?" And I'm like, I didn't need to know that his jacket was brown. It's like,
yeah, that's true.
Stuff like that. And we had talked about how the special effects we really responded to the special effects in black and white. And me personally, the guy with the fire powers, you could tell they did the modern thing of they had a light under his face off camera, to bounce light off it. And so when he sticks his hand up and you see all the flames are just black and white. And it really, really was powerfully worked for me. I was like, wow, that's what that would look like. And even though I've seen all the Human Torch movies and everybody in flames, and it all looks perfect now, but there was just something about just it being in black and white that it was more effective to me for some reason.
Well, also black and white covers a lot of and there were no mistakes per se, but that's why, like, all the shadows and things in noir was to cover the fact that back then they didn't have a lot of money. So, you'd only have like part of a wall and a door. Like, as we know, like a pie piece shape of the Enterprise bridge.
Right,
that's
exactly.
what you're going to shoot. Don't worry. It's always going to come back to Star Trek with you and me. You know that. It has
the second you said that, I was like, oh, yeah, that shot that's from relics
Yeah.
with Scotty. Like, I knew
Exactly.
what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
they recreated the Enterprise bridge,
It's
but
like
only
the
a
chair,
piece
the
of it.
door, and the science section, and that's it.
And it's the bridge chair and everything, and it's
Yeah,
perfect. But
Yeah.
again, it wasn't the whole set. But again, the magic of television, and this is doing the same thing with black and white. So no, I understand what you're saying in terms of I didn't need to know his suit was brown. I get all that.
I'll watch it eventually, but
But you really appreciate the art directing of the film, because these sets are immaculate, and they living as I do in a 120-year-old building. I'm sitting here now in the basement waiting for the ceiling to collapse. It has those like kind of beiges and shitty like green in the hallways and things like that, and you'll see that if you watch it in color. So honestly, I would say even just sample a little bit of it.
Oh,
I
absolutely will watch it. But boy, there's so much good TV coming now again.
Oh, I hear you. I know. Well, that's why I'm so relieved, because truly, Larry, we've been getting so many shitty Star Wars shows, Star Trek shows, bad Marvel movies, bad Marvel TV, and it's like, what the fuck happened to you people? You seem to know what you were doing. Has it been that long? And I liked Wonder Man. I don't know how you felt about Wonder Man.
I loved Wonder Man. I loved it. The weirder, the better. And that when you spoke about this one, where your buddy said the middle was sort of.
It wasn't my buddy. It was one of the haters on YouTubers.
All right. They lost its way in the middle. I was like, dude, I love when that stuff happens. And it made me think of Wonder Man when they burned an entire episode on that. The doorman. Doorway guy. Doorman. Yeah. And I'm like, people were complaining about that. I'm like, are you out of your mind? That
Brilliant.
gives you such a rich bit of information about the world that your main guy is existing in. Take an episode and just live in it. Pretend like you live next to the guy and you heard all about this. I mean, come on.
Larry,
that's what I think about Spider Noir.
Well, again, just like that one episode of Babylon 5 where Sheridan's being interrogated, and it's literally just him and his interrogator for the entire hour. Or Picard in the two-parter, There Are Four Lights. I mean, sometimes when you strip something down, it really is amazing. And that doorman thing, they didn't strip it down, but yeah, you're right. It informed the world, and it was great. Amy Aquino and Andrew Robinson as the mother-son scientists, and getting into eugenics, and as as one of the subplots. Fucking amazing. And I love Amy Aquino, and I've loved her since she was the mom on Brooklyn Bridge 40 years ago. And she's still great. And everything she does, she can do comedy, she can do drama. She was great as Bucky's therapist in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, she was excellent. I didn't recognize her right away because I know her from earlier in her career. And so I looked her up in Internet Movie Database, like everybody does, sitting there watching your screen with your screens. And I told that to Walker. I'm like, hey, she was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And he's like, oh, yeah, cool. And so this whole thing was just a rich environment for if you wanted to watch it all at once. It was really fun. That's what my son and I did. It took us about 9 hours because.
Oh my God!
Yeah, well, my wife's on East Coast time. She works for MetLife, and so I get up. I'm a light sleeper, so I get up with her. And so the boy's back from college, and I said, "Hey man, this isn't sleep until 9 or 10 in the morning like college. Like I get up at 5:36 every day, and if you really, it was a thing in our house that a legend for him that when the first Netflix Daredevil season started, it dropped at midnight, and I watched the first 3 from midnight to 3, and then I went to bed until 6. I got up and got him ready for elementary school, and I told him this was going on, and I said, by the time I come to pick you up for baseball practice, I will have finished this. And he just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And so when this happened, he goes, Daddy, I'm going to be back home for Spider Noir. Like, you want to watch that all at once? I'm like, hell yeah. And so we had to arrange it, but we did finish before me finish. She's supposed to work till 3, but she works until about 5, 6, sometimes just because she can. Sure. So we finished before she came in at 5. And what a blast. We just had so much fun talking about, who Silvermane is. We'd stop that and like,
well,
he's
all right.
all
Now
that.
I want to stop you because I'll admit, guys, I've said it before on my show and women watching, sometimes Marvel is not as strong with me as DC.
Right.
And so tell me about Silvermane.
Well, that's funny because I actually didn't know, but Walker's the big Spider-Man guy, so he's the one who told me about Silvermane, and he's got an exoskeleton and stuff. I kind of wasn't really paying attention because I was like, can we just finish this? This is great. but it was cool that I enjoyed that not only Ben Reilly, but all the bad guys all got their powers at the same time.
Yes.
And so that was an elegant thing that doesn't usually happen in comic book adaptation stuff because everybody wants to know that Dr. Erskine did this, but this, you know what I mean? And that happens because of comics the stories have all aggregated over the years. So there are these big things, but so it was just so refreshing to here's a good Spider-Man event, but it's not what you're used to, so you don't have all that baggage. But it's close enough, like who Ben Reilly is, and they say a thing, hey, you changed your name, and it's like, well, that could be he's just Don Draper because that happens a lot in the war, but it could be that he's really Ben Parker or that he's Peter Parker. It could be anything, and they just did that with a line. And
yeah,
I just every single thing about this project was humming, and everybody was facing the same way, which is so rare on a superhero thing. And boy, this one was just top shelf.
I'll certainly credit David Hine for coming up with the comic back in the day and writing the original Spider-Man Noir. And it was Peter Parker back then. But you got to hand it to these showrunners because it is so different. And even different than into the little bits we got from Into the Spider-Verse movies as well. And no, you're absolutely right. Everybody, like I said, all the behind-the-scenes people, the character actors were all incredible. It did make me laugh, though, that the first torpedo of Silvermane's that gets killed obviously would not cut his hair to make it look like 1930s, and he had almost a mullet going on, and I'm like, that wasn't happening in the 30s, but okay, it's an alternate Earth, that's fine, I'll take it.
That guy was somebody we know too, the actor.
And I don't remember his name.
We looked him up, and I was like, oh, that guy. So the whole
there's a lot of that guys.
I mean, that was the one thing. Like Walker, I was just gushing about it after it finished, and Walker goes, "Come on, you have some criticism. I know you do." And I was like, "Yeah, I could point some stuff out, but just like the special effects, aren't right there. They're not supposed to be something that you're looking at. That's supposed to spackle over the point that on stage it would be a backdrop, but on this, it's like you're spackling over that's modern buildings there, and you want it to look like this, and I think it was elegant." And he goes, "No, really, what is it?" And I was like, the girl who plays Kat Hardy, like, she was fantastic. And usually when if there's something that if I'm not really enjoying a movie, I'll pick something, like I'll enjoy the music, like, oh, the music's good, and I'll just listen to that. But my go-to usually is costumes. I just love textile work, and like I just love costumes, man. I don't know what it is. It's I don't know. It's I could speculate, but her costumes were just crazy good. They were period appropriate, and like you said, it played up the femme fatale thing, but also being like sort of elegant and not that showy. But for the people she was hanging out, I mean, everything was perfect. You can tell that whoever did the main costuming had like files on every character. This is what this character has for breakfast, and that impacts what kind of tie you have, or like you better wear a vest or something. You know what I mean? Like you could tell just when somebody shows up, she's like, we'll make that long hair thing work. Put a hat on them. It's like you're contractually obligated for some show, and you don't want to comb it back, whatever.
It was a tiny little thing.
And but that's what I mean. Like if you were looking for something you could find stuff. But,
of course you can.
But it's like, but that's so rare for me. Like I'm used to Star Trek sucking, So I'll sit down with my notepad already and go, all right. And I sort of had that thing. All right, Nicolas Cage, show me what you're gonna do. And I was flabbergasted. That whole thing was great.
I also really appreciated, in the same way that I liked, especially the first season of the CW's Black Lightning, that this had a Dark Knight Returns vibe of I used to be this hero, I'm not this hero anymore, and it hurts a hell of a lot more when I try to be the hero. And Cage was the perfect age to do that.
Oh, yeah.
It made sense, and I am fascinated. I'm very curious when Masters of the Universe comes out and how Generation Y and Z react to this 80s property that even I was too old for when it was happening. I was in college.
Yeah,
I was trying to get laid, but I appreciate the younger Gen Xers and even the millennials that do like He-Man and are going to be excited for this. But you saw the reaction to Indiana Jones, and I get it. I don't give a shit. I like Harrison Ford, but he's 80 years old. I don't want to see him traipsing around like Indiana Jones. I didn't mind it, but I get it. And Cage, it made sense for this moment for Ben Reilly.
Walker showed me some press this morning, and the showrunners were reacting to like Amazon Prime is like, this is the best thing ever. And so, of course, the first thing is there's going to be another season, right? And so the showrunners said they just kind of laughed. And they were like, well, why? Do you have stuff already? And they said, the reason we made him a private investigator is because we can do the show now for as long as Nick Cage wants to do it.
Yeah.
And the people, the interviewer kind of didn't get it. And they were like, he's a private investigator. Every season is just ready to go because the next person walks through the door and presents the next mystery. And
also,
there's nothing for we'll do it forever.
Well,
and Amazon Prime was like, yeah, that's a good idea. Put him in World War II.
Yeah, and
yes,
also
please.
all these soldiers that got subjected to the things, we didn't see everybody,
right?
So there could be more. And who's to say that was the only place where they were experimenting on them and stuff? And I kind of at first I'm like, I don't know if I like them kind of combining World War II elements with post World War I. But no, you're right. And also alternate universe. I don't care.
Yeah,
it works.
I mean,
it works.
I just kind of Walker said, when do you think this is taking place? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, because it sounds like a lot of World War II stuff, except they're saying it's the 30s. So, I don't know. And so I'm just going to say those were Nazi experiments, but I don't think they were really Nazis yet when it happened. So it seems sad to blame the Germans, but that's what happened in World War I. So
in World War I as well with the mustard gas and everything.
Right.
So
it all makes sense.
It had its own horrors,
What I loved is that, like what you said, is that you can explore everything now, because I like that Amazon Prime said we want to bump it to World War II, because then you don't have to explain why Nicolas Cage is 62. Because then it makes a little more sense. Yeah. So you just figure, okay, he was playing early 50s in the first season, and now that 10 years has passed, or whatever. Give me that all day long.
No, absolutely, man.
Make him Bollywood's Will Eisner's Spirit in Space, and I will die happy.
Oh my God! I know. I was
that
really
little
hoping
thing with his goggles on a big bubble helmet. Well, yes, please.
I was, with Indiana Jones, I really was hoping for more of a NASA connection if they were putting Indiana Jones in the 60s. We didn't get that. That's okay. But no, I absolutely agree with you. Also, even though the Pulp Heroes look was different, it does evoke the original Spider Pulp Hero. And also, I was telling Chris Gage, the Marvel writer, that I thought with the trench coat, fedora, and the Spider Noir mask, to me, it reminded me of when those photorealistic covers for Sandman Mystery Theater for DC.
Oh yeah,
and you can see the Golden Age Sandman right there in that design.
Yeah, Well, the fedora and goggles, that's doing most of the work on that.
Yeah,
boy, that's when Matt Smith was drawing it. So I was actually reading Sandman Mystery Theater back then. Those were great covers. I love those.
Guy Davis too.
Yeah, Guy Davis. Yeah,
and Steve Siegel and Wagner alternating story arcs.
Steven Siegel, man, that guy, he's a good pal.
That's great, man. I know him through his wife. I
Oh, yeah.
got to know his wife in the '90s. We had mutual friends, and
neat.
she's like, my husband writes comic books, and I'm like, no, I didn't know that. And that's fantastic.
He I think I met him through the Ben 10 guys, Joe Casey and
and Joe Kelly
and all that,
and Duncan and everybody,
But we chat at San Diego's, and
sure.
Last year he came over to just say hey, and Walker was pitching him his Jack Fry private investigator stories. Another reason why Walker loves Spider Noir. It was like, he probably knows Jack Fry, and I'm like, yeah, he probably does. But he was a kid, and he was sort of like starstruck a little because one of Daddy's friends did Ben 10, and it's not Joe Casey, and so he kind of flubbed it a little. And Steve, he teaches somewhere, I forget where, but he just took his teacher voice on, and he goes, it's really important that you know your pitch when you're pitching it. So go ahead and tell me like I'm just your buddy. And then he relaxed and did it, and he goes, okay, now do this to just craft it to really get the money out of the things. And he's like, blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, that's good. Okay, do that. Now pitch me that. And then he did it. He's like, okay, you're ready. And he just like walked away. And I was like,
that's great,
Walker. I feel like I owe him $100 because he just gave you the Reader's Digest version of his class. So, and then he came around and we were like, yeah, thank you. And I was like, now give him one of those comics. Don't make him buy it.
That's excellent. Now,
He wrote good Sandman.
Oh God, yeah. Well, everything. Honestly, Steve's just a great writer up and down, and same with Casey and Kelly, and Duncan's a hell of a designer. No, the Men of Action are a great team, and they've been giving us great animation and great comic books lo these many years. But back to Spider
I love
Noir.
that interview you did with Joe. I actually had some errands to do one day, and I just drove around town doing my stuff, listening to that. And I mean, I'm friends with them, so I'm not really following their work. And it was really cool to hear about their intentions for this project that's 20 years old. And I was like, that, it was so obviously for kids that I didn't really read that. But now I'm aware of the property and they want to do that. I'm like, holy crap, now you're writing Ben 10 for adults. And I'm like, let me read that. That sounds really good.
No, I hear you, man.
Man, you just do the best interviews. I know.
Shining
your shoes,
man. I always appreciate what you say, but it's like, stop talking about me. It's
real value for comics that I'm not sure people understand.
Well,
you're I got my friggin' Walter Cronkite, man.
I got my fan. That's what Mark Miller said. You've got like Walter Cronkite kind of quality to your interviews. I'm like, all right, man, whatever you say.
Well, it's because you're well informed and you're serious, but you're not afraid to show a little emotion. So I think that's where the Cronkite thing comes from, as opposed to like, Dan Rather or Murrow or somebody.
Roger Mudd. Oh, I love. You see, Murrow's my guy.
Yeah,
Murrow is my guy. The way he took down McCarthy was just amazing. Oh. Now, I was going to say, in spite of being, I think, a classic liberal, sometimes the shows do get a little too, I hate to use the word, but woke, where I understand all right, here we go again. Okay, what's her face from, like the woman that's in Indiana Jones that's in the great Amazon show, Fleabag. Woman's got to save Indiana Jones.
What's her name? Yeah, Phoebe.
Yeah. Phoebe, 3 names, whatever. It's like, okay, she's got to save him. Okay, whatever. And because I will admit, I sometimes have that reaction. The women in here, they all were great. They all, like, nobody could complain that there weren't important women. I love Kelly Sue DeConnick says, she would have said, there are no sexy lamps in this. And that's kind of like, the hot chick that really is just there to be hot and basically is a prop and really has no character.
Yeah, that's great.
And no, Felicia Hardy was great. And Ben Reilly's secretary, whose name, forgive me, everybody, I forget, but they were funny.
She was fantastic.
They were good.
I loved her and the little kid Frankie.
He was funny.
I thought those were really 2 valuable supporting characters for his world. Because you did that for the film noir, right? The sassy secretary that keeps it all together for you. and the little kid has got this street info for you. It was great. Everything.
I couldn't remember the name of Effie, Sam Spade's Secretary of Maltese Falcon. And on the radio show, she's played a little more ditzy, but in the movie, she's smart, and she really is like Sam's right-hand man in the same way this woman was. And it's like, no, and I love the ending that, okay, now she's a partner. Great, fine.
Yeah.
Because she was smart. She showed how smart she was.
Speaking of the women being very strong characters, that's what I loved about Star City. I was only able to watch the first one. I didn't get the second one. But oh my God, like I was really iffy on it because, you know, I'm like U.S. manned space program guy. And,
I do know.
And I got to the point after I did all the research for all the various Astronauts in Trouble books where I'm like, I'm just a writer, but I feel like I could run a NASA interview about a moon base at Ames down the street. Like I couldn't do it. I don't have any math or engineering, but I understand the challenges, you know. So I could do the first 20 minutes of an overview meeting. So I'm like, if I'm that well-informed enthusiast, I gotta like broaden my horizons. So I started reading about the Soviet space program. And there's this crazy good book called Korolev, that's the chief designer that's played by Reese Darby in the show. And so I learned all about that guy. So to see that he's like number one on the call sheet for this show made me really excited. I'm like, okay, he's a great actor. It's going to be Korolev's running stuff. This is going to be like all this stuff about Von Braun, except the Russian stuff. Okay, I'm in. And then every woman character is a badass, like a straight badass. And I was like, that's a really cool choice because you can't really do the straight Soviet thing now because it won't be commercially successful, right? You're doing a show that you want to entertain people. So if you do the full, like, no, we must all die for the glory of Russia. Like, I don't know if you know about their first Russian spacesuits, but they didn't really have an idea about it. So they built a thing for the guy to wear, but the front is just a tube of fabric. And so the idea is you go headfirst through the tube of fabric, you put your feet in the thing, you get all situated, and now you've got this umbilical cord of a sack, right? And you know what they did? They just tied it in a knot. Of course, they let it down and tied it as hard as they could. And they were like, okay, hope that holds. That was the first spacesuit in Russia.
I'm hip. No, exactly.
So, that's crazy.
But that's what they convey when you see them in this first moon mission, and you see them in the capsule and stuff. No, it is not. It's stripped down. Or I remember Khrushchev's son, who became a professor at Brown University over here, when 13 Days came out, he was on a lot of the bonus documentary stuff, and he made the joke about how, and it's been repeated in different ways for years, where NASA spent $1 million to come up with the Fisher pen that writes in space while it's upside down. Well, what the Russians use? A pencil.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, it'll do the job. It's fine. You don't have to do that. But thanks a lot, NASA. Exactly. I mean, because I do have more to say about Spider-Man.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just
that's all right.
That was a cool scene.
Oh no.
We're
not done. And we'll get back to it because really I want to get into also other things about Star City. But the villains were great. The guy who played Sandman, for being like a knucklehead, had so many layers to his character, and that was Jack Houston. I did make sure to catch that name. And Brendan Gleeson as Silvermane was perfect. Yeah. That's a city gangster who's running the town, and is completely indifferent of whether people are alive or dead, and just using people and not caring about anybody but himself. And also his size allowed for the largesse of his character. No, it was everybody was perfectly cast.
Yeah, that show was just fantastic. I would watch another. I would have watched another 8 hours of another like season right then. I was so excited about that, and it was just more that it's all there. They a lot of times in cool stuff that I'm excited for, I end up having a better time before I watch it, right? Because my expectation and enthusiasm for it often is more entertaining than the actual finished process. But every once in a while, something comes out that I'm like, not only is that better, not only does that set my expectations, but it's also better than I'd hoped, you know?
Oh
And
yeah.
I felt that way about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, actually, because I thought there
Me
was
too.
a giant opportunity for that to go wrong, and it didn't. And boy, they did the same kind of stuff. There's a whole episode where Mackey's on the boat with his sister, just talking about shrimp, and I love that entire. The whole thing is basically about like soldiers and the how they pay their bills when they come back, and they're going to the bank, and like if you just told somebody that, you'd be like, that's probably the most boring episode ever. And I was like, that was the craziest character driven thing in the middle of a firestorm I've ever seen. And
Well, that was
they did that kind of thing with Spider Noir as well.
well, and really to stay on Falcon and Winter Soldier, comparing it to Captain America: Brave New World, it's like, no, you already told this story and you did it better in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And I'd really wish on some alternate Earth I could see whatever the original cut was, because I know we really got screwed on Isaiah Bradley being in a Captain America suit. And also, my God, I love and now I'm blanking on his name, the actor who played Isaiah Bradley.
Oh yeah, yeah, the guy from Mantis. What's that guy's name?
Right, and Martian Manhunter. I actually interviewed him with the rest of the Justice
Carl
League
Lumley.
cast. Carl Lumley, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, and no, he's great, and I like the sparring, and I like the dynamic between the three of them, a new Falcon, Anthony Mackie, and Lumley. I thought it was good, but we needed more of it, and we needed them in action, all fighting together. And again, I don't know what was in the original cut. I don't know why they made the choices they did, but compared to Falcon and Winter Soldier, Brave New World was a shit movie. It just was.
I agree. It makes me sad too, because I was really looking forward to Mackie in a cap suit. And, and like seriously, so Mackie is the, cut the check guy, let's go. And then you get Harrison Ford playing the president, who's also the Red Hulk. It seems like you can't mess that up, and they somehow did. They made it boring. And
they had Giancarlo, the guy from The Boys, that plays Stan, the business guy that's in charge of Vought, and he was, Copperhead, and it's like, again, you fucking wasted him because he probably was in more of the original cut. But it's like, anyway, let's get off that. We'll get back to Spider Noir.
But it is interesting about stuff that nobody went to work on that movie, waking up going, I can't wait to half-ass it today.
Oh yeah,
shit out this thing.
Of course not.
And so it's so crazy that two properties from the same original source, like one's just like at best it's a valiant effort, right? That's like at best it's like you guys were trying, good job. And Spider Noir is like the expectations were in the toilet, and they're like, no, we're gonna hit that home run right over there, and then they do it.
Cool. I'm glad you made I meant to say it earlier as well. It's like watching a ball team that's been losing all of a sudden have this amazing rally and have a great game.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, you're right about that. And also, I was going to say that again, it always comes back to Star Trek. I hate when Alex Kurtz is like, "Oh, everybody works so hard." We know you did. We know everybody worked, and like you just said, we know you didn't set out to make something that sucks. But unfortunately, you did. So you made a lot of bad ideas. And again, it takes as much effort to make a shitty television series as it does a good one. And maybe it comes down to, again, it always comes down to writing. And but it really does. It's like, stop saying how hard, because now these assholes are doing it about, what's coming up with Strange New Worlds and also Starfleet Academy. Oh, they work so hard. Fuck you. I don't care. Yes, I know they did.
I could not agree with you more.
Yeah, the chef cooked the roast and burned it and put just as much effort in as a roast that turned out good. I'm sorry, you fucked up.
that's the thing. So my buddy Carl Martin is the set designer. He works on Mandalorian. He works on the Star Trek. He works for Marvel. Started on Sequest. I mean, the guy's been doing good stuff forever. And he said a really telling thing, because I was making that point too. It's like, why Mike Okuda said that on my Facebook page. He's like, well, everybody's just trying their darndest, and everybody's really, really sweet people, and it's like, hey man, that's the defense of people who are ashamed of what they're doing, because you have to let the work speak for itself, because the assumption is that no one's tanking this on purpose. Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's a commercial art. So if you tank something, you're not going to make money, and then you won't keep getting jobs and the stuff, and then it's a horror show. So no one is saying you guys are doing this on purpose. But the fact remains that it's all the toil from all the good people have produced something that's, you told us it was Star Trek and it's a plate of lasagna. And it might be fine, but we wanted some Star Trek. I don't feel like having lasagna right now. And that's the part they don't get. It's like, you can't talk us into liking something that we didn't want. It just doesn't work that way.
And also, having come from sports, I've seen a lot of coaches and athletes defend their losing team in the same way. Everyone's working really hard. And again, it's like, we know, but it's the end result. And it's a shame that it's not better, but, and I respect the idea of, well, we want to do something different. Okay. But you can't make it so different that it doesn't look like Star Trek anymore.
It's not the
at
same
all.
thing, right? It's so different that it's not what you wanted.
No. But I was going to say some just final thoughts about Noir. I thought the guy who played Tombstone was terrific, and I loved him and Robbie Robertson, and their relationship was really cool. And also just Robbie's whole fight for representation and getting the better job again at the Bugle and the shit he had to go through. I thought that was all really terrific.
I love Lamorne Morris, that guy, because I love New Girl. That show's fantastic. Yep. But I locked into all those characters as sort of comedic characters, right? And he was carrying emotional weight in the scenes he was in. And I was like, wow, man, like, I thought you were this fluffy little funny guy that sometimes does, like, insurance ads. And he's I don't know if I can't say he's a heavy hitter based on one role, but he's got it in him. So he did great.
Oh my God. Well, no, I mean, he really took charge.
Yeah, absolutely.
In that final episode when he shows up. And it was, again, much like I said, there are echoes of Dark Knight Returns in Spider Noir. Yeah. The whole Ben Reilly and then Robbie showing up as the Spider was great.
I love that.
And I didn't even like when they set it up where he's pretending to be the Spider on the phone, and then all of a sudden he shows up and he's doing his Nicolas Cage imitation. And it's great when the secretary's like, what are you doing? I'm talking like him. And then he does it for everybody and they buy it. And it's so great. It was like, this is the kind of shit that, again, it's like, oh man, whoever had that aha in the writer's room, well done. I mean, it's,
it really reminded me of the Adam West Batman.
Yes.
So Walker and I started talking about it because it was like, we were saying, look, he's doing this cool Humphrey Bogart thing. And then I said, well, he was doing Adam West when he was doing Kick-Ass. And then the light bulb went off and I was like, oh. And then, then you get the whole thing where Robbie dresses like the Spider. And then it's like Alfred put on the suit every once in a while. So Bruce Wayne can walk around. So when that scene came up, we like both looked at each other. We were like, okay, these guys are having the same kind of fun they had in Batman 66, where it's like, we get that this is a little off, but we're going to play it straight and you people are going to love it. And that's what happened. So,
and that's why I made the comparison to Dick Tracy. It could have gone wacky and it didn't. They still, again, Star Trek, like Shatner, they believed that styrofoam rock was a rock, and therefore we bought it. And that's what you need. And they walked that tightrope, but they stayed on the tightrope. They did not fall. And again, that's why hats off to all of them. And excellent job. I am all for another season of this stuff.
Absolutely.
And by the way, another guy, Megawatt, this fat ass, and I say this as a fellow fat ass, is given some of the most complex dialogue, and his ambitions for just being this like poor man's Electro. Megawatt, I believe, was his name.
Yes, yeah.
And I know that's another
Electro.
real electric character.
That's what we were called him, Electro from Temu.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, that's Depression era Electro. That's fine.
Yeah.
But no, it really worked. And again, his scenes with Sandman were great. And that's the thing. No, and like I said, there's like a million other soldiers that were at least there. How about the body horror of when they found Amy Aquino's secret laboratory?
Oh,
and it's like, holy shit. That is shocking. That's boys level shocking.
No, I agree 100%. The human spider guy that bit Ben.
Oh yeah.
I turned to Walker. I was like, yeah, I wouldn't like that when I was 10.
Oh no, absolutely not. No, again, but also Brendan Gleeson and all the supervillains' reactions of like, oh my god, like they're appalled. The bad guys are appalled at this behavior and like, what did you do?
That's the thing I enjoyed most about the crew of bad guys is that they all felt like they. As an audience member, I was sitting in my living room, feeling like their problems were real.
Yes.
To them, you know?
Yes.
And that's the base level of what actors are supposed to do. But sometimes it just doesn't come out like that. And all of these guys, I don't know what it was, but it all lined up that I just bought every single thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of don't have any criticisms for it, because anything that I could say would be in the face of like, well, you know, you had a spot on your dress, but it was beautiful. You know what I mean? It was like,
I do. Listen, Lair, I'm happy to talk positively about things. Last Sunday, I did my Mandalorian Grogu review, and I liked Spider Noir a lot more than Mandalorian Grogu, but it was fine. I gave it 3 out of 4 stars because it was entertaining. And again, there were little things that I'm like, yeah, all right, this is for the kids. I didn't need all the little Star Wars minions, their version with those little mechanics. Essentially, they're the Star Wars minions. Let's face it. Come on. And
no,
that's okay.
It's obvious.
That's okay. The kids love that shit.
Yeah.
Great. But again, I don't like shitting on Star Trek. I want to say good things about Star Trek. And unfortunately, it doesn't happen that often and hasn't for the last 10 years. Thanks, Alex. But I am happy to say that Spider Noir is great. And like I said earlier, I think this is Nick Cage's comeback in the way that Travolta had it with Pulp Fiction.
I agree.
Where everyone's like, wait a minute. Let's not dismiss the Oscar winner so quickly. He's still got it.
I think it's actually better than that, than the Travolta thing, in that, although that's great because of Face Off, right? Like
that's true too.
I saw a funny thing where somebody took the Spider Noir thing but put Travolta's face on it. So, and people were like, "What, is he in this?" It's like, no, that's a Face Off joke, everyone.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's the thing I thought about him, is that he I forget what I was going to say, but it was complimentary. Oh no, about us. I'm not looking for negative stuff from you. It's just, and I don't want to talk. I'm like you. I don't want to say negative stuff. But our religion, Star Trek, has sucked for a decade, and I'm just really used to going, nope, that's not right, you know. And so it's something I have to guard against that when I sit down, even for something I'm looking forward to. It's like, okay, let's just put on the rose-colored glasses for a second. Like, we're choosing to watch this, right? So we're already on your side. We want it to be good. And that went away in 10 seconds with Spider Noir. I was like, oh, I'm in good hands. These guys know what they're doing. Let's go. And it was fantastic.
Absolutely. Before we get into Star City, you listen to the Inglorious Trexperts podcast, don't you, or no?
Yeah, not religiously, but yeah, no. Mark Altman's a friend of mine. We published like one of his comics.
Oh, okay. Well, Mark and Ashley Miller. Pardon me.
Mark Altman's comic was called Elvis Van Helsing. You know,
oh, that's hilarious. Oh, I remember that title.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah. I like when they interview people, and they had a very tough task because they had Jess Bush, Ethan Peck, and Christina Chong. So they had La'an, Noonien Singh, they had Nurse Chapel, and they had Spock from Strange New Worlds. And we know they don't like the show, but they were very polite, and that was cool. But what was interesting was a revelation having nothing to do with Ashley or Mark Altman. When they were taking questions from the people in attendance, and someone goes, "Where do you see your characters? 10 years from wherever the show ends or whatever." And none of them had an answer. And it's like, of course they didn't, and it was evident as the discussion was going on, they didn't think about these characters until they got the jobs. And that's fine because they're actors. But my point is, like, they are subject, and again, this is what we've been saying throughout this episode, the actors are subject to the scripts they're given.
They're writing, yeah.
That's all there is, and it is their job to take the written word and do what they can with it. And also, they do get more improvisational time, and they talked about that. And it is obvious that when it comes to the gimmick episodes, they love them because it gives them a chance to stretch beyond the confines of their regular characters.
Yeah.
I get all of that. The problem is, if you're going to stretch, it better be fucking good. And it hasn't been. They better be great ideas that are executed well, and they haven't been. And that's the difference.
It is so weird that the people running that show don't understand what all the fans get is that if you're doing 8 or 10 episodes a season and you do 3 gimmick episodes, that's like, what's the math on that? Almost half of your season.
Well, it's a third. It's a third.
That's like a third. That's like, the old show where you had 26 episodes a season.
Right.
That,
one goofy one a season.
8 of those are gimmick episodes? Like,
no way. Maybe two.
Maybe 2. Right?
But more likely, especially in the classic series, right? 1. What's that?
Yeah, you're right. They're usually 1, but maybe 2, but those are palate cleansers, right? You have adventures, and then, hey, look, they're funny Tribble episodes.
And
adventures, usually, like, hey, look, there's Alice in Wonderland.
Well, you'll remember in Next Generation, the second episode was a gimmick. It was Naked Now, which was the riff on the Naked Time from the original series. And it sucked, and they got shit hammered for it. It's like, you haven't earned the right. Buffy waited till season 6 to have the musical. These assholes did it in season 2. And it's like, we don't know these people well enough to play. And even the holodeck murder mystery from last season of Strange New Worlds, it's like, and it just that, as I'm sure you and I and probably Dr. John Price also, we all talked about it, and it's like, do you realize you're kind of insulting Gene Roddenberry and all these people? I'm like, you're not paying homage. You're saying you're paying homage, but you're shitting on them at the same time. And it's like, pick a lane. Either admonish them for being, Gene Roddenberry for being the horn dog and being not that great a hack writer, or really honor him. And also, it was shit. It's shit writing again. It's always shit writing. The really documentary was shit.
I just don't get why they were allowed to continue. That obviously Paramount was contractually enslaved to him.
Yes.
That's what happened. Hideout, because
yes,
any show where the audience is going, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks, the network eventually changes that.
Buck Rogers
didn't for this, and it's like, well, guess what? All you're gonna hear is that this sucks for 10 years because that's what's happened. So.
Well, I have to cut slack and say when I'm in my 70s, I'll see how people look back in the same way that people were dissatisfied with the Star Wars prequels. And I would even say the same thing about the sequels, that we'll see how this generation Y and Z that grew up on the sequels, how they feel in 20 years, if they're still nostalgic. Because we've liked a lot of shit that really, now that we're older, where it's like, that sucked, but I still like it. So we'll see how it's regarded. I don't know. But anyway, Star City. Have you still got time, Larry? Because I don't want to.
Yeah, no, of course.
Okay. All right. Well, no, man.
Like I said, astronauts? I'll talk about astronauts.
Well, I figured that, but also I didn't want to. I didn't want to leave Spider Noir till I was absolutely done.
Yeah, no.
Star City, man. Again, I love For All Mankind. I'm not as far along as Larry is as far as this current season, and I like to. I don't usually binge. I do like to savor the shows that I like because I know, especially with streaming shows, it's going to be 2 years before we get another season.
Right. Yeah.
So it is what it is, but that's why. And I was so excited for Star City because, like Larry. Oh, first of all, I should point out. I'm going to zoom in for our video audience and go solo on Larry because you got to see what Larry's wearing rather on his head and on his body.
My hat's the season 1 crew gift. It just has the logo, but this one's this patch. It's Ellen Wilson. Well, with this side, Ellen Wilson's 81 crew on Jamestown. And,
yes,
but there's a guy named Young and there's a guy named Walker. Is my son's name. So these were the patches, the season 2 patches that they set on, and I was like, man, I don't need the whole set. But could I just have 17 of these to mail to my friends?
I get it.
I did. I got the set. But.
Just like Spider Noir, you don't have to have watched For All Mankind. All you need to know is you're watching an alternate history where the Russians beat us to the moon and history changes. And just like, the proverbial rock that hits the pond, the ripples expand and all these changes happen because of it. And now we're getting the Soviet side of the story. And like Larry, I am an astronaut freak. We are original Apollo kids. I was 4 when the moon landing happened, and my parents were very smart. And even at 4 years old, are like, "Okay, the moon up there?" And I'm like, "Yeah." "Okay, you see the guy on TV that's walking around in the white powder and everything?" "Yeah." "Well, he's up there right now, and I got it." And I'm like, "Wow!" And that's why I think, honestly, we love Star Trek so much because we could extrapolate that 300 years from the 20th century. Yeah, there could be giant spaceships and a crew of 400 people tooling around the universe. Why not?
The thing I loved it. I was 6, so I was a couple of years older than you, but my family lived in Dallas, Texas. So when we were hearing on the, Houston, do you read? We're like, I know where Houston is. That's down the street. Oh my God, those guys on the moon are talking to us, or at least guys in our state, And yeah, it really fired my imagination. It was really easy to believe that by the time I was 35 or so, I'd be able to go up to the moon and do moon stuff because we're on our way, right? And
absolutely.
We missed it, but
I
wrote a comic about it.
we got the supercomputers, but we never got the jetpacks, unfortunately.
Yeah.
At least functional ones that would I thought by the time I was 40 or 50, I would be owning a jetpack and flying around. I really did. As a little kid.
I mean, Live to the Moon, I wrote in 1999, and it takes place in 2019, which was 20 years in that future, right? And I was like, I don't know if we're going to be on the moon, but maybe, right? If that's the future. And then now it's 2026 and stuff's blowing up on.
But honestly, and I don't like Jeff Bezos and I don't like Elon Musk. I will cut them slack because I was watching Neil deGrasse Tyson on Friday night on Bill Maher talking about it. And he's like, NASA had mishaps and misfires. And I mean, of course, the serious tragedy of Apollo 1, but all those Atlas rockets that blew up on the launch pad and stuff like that. I mean, it's going to happen. And let's hope it happens without human casualties. But that said, they are more nimble that it's the private sector than NASA could be, where every dollar is being scrutinized.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see. But also, I was telling Larry, and actually, I told a bunch of other friends that I have in Portland and the like, the usual crowd, the Bendises and people like that,
the usual crowd,
and the Omings, the Bendises, Fraction, and Kelly Sue. So I'm like, I love this show. And both Oming and I are real freaks about, and I bet you are as well, what they used to show on the Science Channel, Soviet space disasters.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sorry. And again, I don't mean to enjoy misery, everybody. But what's fascinating is, and it's obvious we're going to get this in Star City, is when shit goes wrong, they will erase not only the facts, but people.
Right.
And to the point where in these documentary series, they literally airbrush out cosmonauts that died, and they don't want any record of the fact that they were even part of the space program. And we never heard about the results until after they were safely back on Earth. We never heard about all the mishaps until things opened. I assume it was during the Boris Yeltsin period that we got more disclosure, and maybe Gorbachev as well, that we might have gotten some more transparency of how the space program ran. But the space race was amazing, and I love everything about us competing, and we got to get to the moon. We can't let those jerks beat us. We got to get to the moon.
That's what I love about it, is that they're so, I mean, obviously we heard the American side of it, right?
Right.
But even if, I mean, I've read some stuff, but the really interesting thing is the way they solved the two sides solved problems, right? The Americans were like, we're gonna do this in front of everyone, so it really is for all mankind. We're doing this for the whole Earth, good, bad, and indifferent, right? And then the Russians were like, we will brute force this so we can win and prove the superiority of our way of life.
Yeah.
And so I just think that's neat, because you never get to see so clearly defined opposite philosophies headed towards the same goal. And you would think, just in all things being equal, brute force always wins, right? Like that's it in chess. The superior force must tell, right? So if you have more resources and more brute force, it's going to win. And this is the one thing where you can't brute force zero gravity and vacuum, because that's a very clear winner on that one. Buzz Aldrin had that famous thing that they said, you have the cyanide pill in case things go wrong. He's like, if things go wrong, we just open the window.
Yeah, no shit, exactly. We don't need the pill. That's a good call. Yeah, really, for real. And this, folks, is like, I intend, as you can see from the banner that says no spoilers. I don't want to spoil, but I will say that again. I will talk about how the cosmonaut program worked, and even to the point of, and God, now I sound like Yakov Smirnov. In America, they splash down. In Russia, ground splashes on you, because they have, when they would re-hit the atmosphere, and you see it on the show, they're not splashing down in the water, they're landing on land. And that was kind of par for the course, as I understood it. Larry,
yeah, absolutely. They had a really interesting braking system, and so it was the parachute. Americans hit the water because you can slow down to about 30 miles an hour from whatever they're going to return from the moon, 186,000 miles a second.
Right.
You can slow down to about 30 miles an hour, but that's still a pretty good hit, right? And if you've been in zero gravity for a week or so, you're going to get injured. So you hit the water. The Americans are fine. You get a sense of frogman, whatever. In Russia, they get down to it right before it hits, and then they fire retro rockets. So basically, you're not hitting a brick wall, like you would if you just hit the ground, but
right.
You are kind of like slamming into a big thing of whatever those water barrels are in the highway, right? Because you're still getting a pretty good jolt.
Yeah, there's an
impact.
All they're
doing is helping you not die when you hit the ground.
Exactly.
And for the Russians, every once in a while, the guys would just die.
Well,
the retro rockets wouldn't work.
Right.
One parachute would fail, and you're just hitting the ground.
Yes, and literally, and
then you got to airbrush the guy out of the photos.
That's exactly right. And yeah, we know we don't speak of them. Can you imagine their families and all that stuff? Yeah. I mean, it's truly. I mean, it really was horrific, and we're getting that on the show. And again, without spoiling, I look forward to this season wrapping up, much like we just did for Spider Noir, and I look forward to talking about it at length. And there's a laundry list of friends that I talked to, Larry among them.
They do the great stuff of the first episode is pretty historically accurate. It's not that, but Alexei Leonov was the first guy to do a spacewalk. So all that stuff really happened. They didn't tell his wife that he's going up. They're not telling her that he's leaving the capsule. They just told him when he came back. So all that's true, but they just, for the show, they said he went to the moon, which I thought was great. I'm like, this. I know stuff about him because they named the ship after him in 2010.
He's
And so I'm
he's
like,
like
oh,
a,
who's this guy? So I read all about his life. He's great.
he's like I mean, they were on different missions, but essentially, much like Buzz Aldrin being number 2, Gagarin, obviously the first man to orbit,
Yeah.
the first human being to orbit. Listen, I got American pride. I love Alan Shepard. I love John Glenn. I got to meet John Glenn at the Capitol, which was like such a thrill. And he's like, "Are you from Ohio, his state?" And I'm like, "No, I'm from Illinois." He goes, "Well, I'll shake your hand. It's all right."
Shake your head anyway, right?
Which is so great.
Yeah,
I'm like,
great.
oh man, he's like, not only is he a hero and he's amazing, but he's cool too.
Regular
this is
guy.
fantastic.
Yeah,
But so
that's
then,
what I love
I
about
always think of
astronauts.
Lanoff as, as like another Buzz Aldrin, essentially. But yeah, man, no, they were first, and that's important. And also, there is a spacewalk that is in these episodes, and I'll just leave it at that. And it is dramatic, and it looks amazing, much like the rest of For All Mankind. The special effects are incredible, but also you see how low budget the Soviets just took all this stuff. Like the inside of their capsule. Compare Apollo 13 to what you're seeing in Star City, and it is hilarious because it looks like they're in the back of a van that like might be delivering carpets, and they just happen to be in the back of the van.
John, it's even worse than that. Have you seen one of those capsules in real life?
The Soviet ones? No.
Yeah. And across in the bay in Oakland, there's the Shabon Science Museum, and they have a Vostok in there. And guys like us, we couldn't get in that thing.
I was going to say we probably couldn't fit.
They honestly, they have a Gemini that's pretty tight for me back then. It's just they're not setting up guys like us because it's too much in fuel. You know what I mean?
No, I do, man. It's
so that Vostok, I stuck my head in there and I was like, I would lose my mind from claustrophobia in 10 seconds.
Absolutely.
It's so tight and it's so small, and everything around the seat is packed with equipment and stuff they need. And I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll just like this astronaut stuff from afar because I don't do roller coasters very well. And my only claustrophobic, that's not for me. What's that lever say? I don't know.
We had a replica at the Museum of Science and Industry here in Chicago. We were in the running to get a shuttle, and we didn't get it. And I forget what city got it instead. But what we have had forever since I was a kid was a replica of a Mercury with a mannequin dressed as an astronaut inside of it to show what it looked like for Alan Shepard and Glenn and all those Mercury 7s that went up there and everything. Everybody but Deke Slayton, as we know. But yeah, it was really interesting to see that. Yeah. And then, like I said, to compare it to what Star City and what the cosmonauts were dealing with. And it's amazing. There was also a docudrama series that either the History Channel or A&E ran called Space Race. And it was dramatization, but also documentary at the same time. And it really compared Werner von Braun and what's his name again, the Russian?
Yeah, Korolev,
yes. Korolev. Yes. And it's and really, yeah, is that Rhys Davies that's playing him?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I love that guy. I loved him. Yeah, I love him in the 5-year engagement as the comic foil that Emily Blunt is thinking about being with or not when she's not with Jason Segel. And he's really funny, and he's like a professor mentor to her. But they wind up in a relationship and everything. But he is so great as Kovalov and everything. Kovalov?
Yeah, it's Korolev.
Kovalev. Okay,
Korolev.
I'll say it right.
He was.
But yeah,
I loved him in Notting Hill as the crazy roommate. He's just always running around in his underwear. And so when I read this, I was like, yeah, that guy's gonna be great. I'm gonna like this show. And I really like I said, I just saw the first one, but I loved it. I don't think there's really anything we could spoil either because it goes the way you would expect a Soviet thriller to go.
But you know what I mean? But it's still shocking. Oh, and also, by the way, here I'm going to bring up the poster again. The woman in the middle there, she's like a Russian colonel that is kind of one of the intimidators in the story.
Stasi.
And she's totally doing the Lottie Lenya thing from Russia with Love.
Yeah.
Her slick back hair and everything.
Yeah.
She's a little more gentle in her voice as opposed to Lottie Lenya, and that's fine. But no, man, it really. I mean, again, I hope Yakov Smirnoff is taking notes because I think he's got a whole new half hour to his career or to his routines if he wants to talk about this stuff. And I think it would be fascinating, honestly. I'm not being mean, everybody. I don't mean to.
Yeah, no.
Well, I know I'm teasing.
I
thought
you were looking at my
trigger somebody.
I thought you were looking at my face because I just was like, oh, I have something to ask John. So are you kind of caught up with the present season of For All Mankind when they're on?
No, I got to be honest. I think I'm only 4 or 5 episodes in.
So okay, this might be okay then. You know the older woman Russian that's coming up and dealing with the Russian governor.
Yes,
I think that's one of the characters from this, an old lady.
Oh, probably. I
just can't because I'm really bad at characters' names and stuff. It happened when Lost started, and the Sawyer characters started calling everybody by their nicknames, and they're like, "Hey, Freckles, hey, Fat Man," whatever. And so I started doing that like just because everyone in a TV show is an archetype.
Yes,
so I'd be like, there's the lifeguard, there's the silly girl, you know what I mean? And so I stopped, and then Russian names. It's not my culture, so there's no way I'm going to remember anybody's name until the end of the season. But I think it's the dark-haired girl. I don't want to ruin
not the astronaut, the surveillance girl.
Yes,
the girl
the surveillance.
Go on.
Yeah. The character.
Oh, you think that's the character in?
Chris, thanks, Chris.
Oh, there. Oh, yeah. Sorry, everybody. Here's a comment from Chris. Yes, indeed. Chris knows. So yeah, Irina.
It is. It's old. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, man. I'm glad you're watching. Yeah, I knew you'd promote in your area, Larry, but I was like, oh, maybe I should get over there and let everybody know, hey, me and Larry are going to be talking tonight. But we got an audience. People are watching.
Yeah, I mean, Sunday night, I'm like, I get to talk to my friend John. I don't care who shows up. It's cool that it's Chris. Can I tell you, Chris is he's been attended more of the door courts than I have. He's I got to do something nice for him. Get him a little trophy or something because
that's nice.
He has perfect attendance, and it means he lives down the street from me. It just means a lot to me because we're just pals from Facebook, man. And,
that's cool. Well, that's crazy. Then you didn't know him before Facebook?
I mean, we've been friends for 12 years now. But
all right.
Right. But before, he just kept getting suggested, like, you have friends in common with this guy. And it's like, oh, he's from San Francisco. Okay, I didn't even look. Because I'd read a few of his things, and he's always saying something funny or insightful or something.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah, I guess we're just friends now. And then it's like 13 years later, and I'm like, man, you've been to more of my podcasts than I have.
You've gifted me with so many things over the years. I've got my holy candle that has me with a nice Mother Teresa kind of head covering. But I guess for me being the patron saint of nerd shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the collection of Star Trek James Blish books. Thank you.
I mean,
and the Quatloos. And you sent me an envelope of Quatloos.
If anybody shows any interest in something that I enjoy, I want them to be my friend because
that's
the weird shit that we're all into. It's just, I mean, it's not as much. It's not bad now, right? But when we were kids, you were lucky to have one friend that would knew who the $6 Million Man was, and people would watch it. They just didn't give a shit like we did. And, my buddy Rick Austin, I don't know if you've seen him on the thing, but he worked on for MTV for the longest time. He works he used to work for Joel Gallen. What is that? 9th Planet, 10th Planet, 10th Planet. He's got his own production house now called Headquarters Entertainment. But he was my one friend that we would run around and play Planet of the Apes and stuff, and so that just went into my adult life. It's like, oh my God, you know who Kate Beckinsale is or whatever, It's like, okay,
but the great thing is, man, all these people, and even slightly younger than us, and younger Gen X and even some millennials and stuff. They grew up on this stuff, and now they're in positions to go, okay, we still like this stuff. Let's make it for adults and children. Yeah. And
That's the
let's
Spider Noir,
shit on Star Trek once again, and then say, "Oh no, this is just for the teenagers." Well, you're a fucking moron. Because why would you you could do it for everybody? The great David Desmalchin was on my show a couple months ago, and I'm like, everything that they could do that they wanted to do on New Trek, they could do, but still broaden the appeal and make it a little more of an ensemble show and include a few more different characters, and they could still achieve exactly what they want to do as far as representation. But they think they're and CBS and Paramount they don't like Star, and certainly Les Moonves, who made the original deal, he wasn't sure if Darth Vader was part of Star Trek, and that's on record. So yeah, it's like, all right, well, you were part of the team that made the JJ movies. All right, you know this stuff better than me. Go ahead and do what you want, and this is the shit that we got. But anyway, back to Star City, because I love Star. I can't help it, man. I gotta. It's like a bad tick with me. I know.
I don't even think so. I think you're just warning people not to step in the dog shit. And I tell people all the time. It's like, I'm not shitting on the show. The show is shitting on its audience. Like, first,
yes.
So when we're telling you, hey, this isn't that great, we're just warning you that maybe you like stepping in dog shit. I don't know. Well, but me, I wouldn't step in that.
And also, there are people that just are very simply entertained, and that is it's not meant to be disrespectful, but it's like, I just want something that's chewing gum or bubble gum on the wall, and I can look at it for an hour, and I immediately forget what I watched. Well, we rewatch episodes of Star Trek, the great ones, and I've yet to find any new Trek that is really rewatchable. A little bit of Picard season 3, but really, no. But anyway, Star City.
I'm with you. Like, I never really thought about that until just listening to you now. But I have not rewatched any modern Star Trek, not once.
No.
And when I was in college, I had taped all the Next Generations, and when I was cutting granite, I did 2 years of taping it off my TV, and then I'm going back to college, and I'm like, I have to tape Next Generation. And those 7 years, no matter where I was or what I was doing, I recorded Star Trek off the TV.
Yeah.
And then I watched it every day until the next one came out. Even shitty ones, because that was new Star Trek.
For the longest time.
And now it's like, that's not Star Trek, so I don't give a shit. I'll just watch Omega Glory again.
Again, having done broadcasting, I hung on to a VHS player and recorder, because a lot of my air checks of television I had on videotape. But I also hung on to my Deep Space Nine VHSs long into the DVD era, because that's how I originally taped them, was from TV.
Yeah.
And also, if I was
awesome.
Not setting the timer, I would stop at the commercial and I would come back. And so it just runs for 40 minutes uninterrupted. And I love it. And no, I adored that show. And I mean, I didn't do it as much. I did tape when I'd miss the Next Generation. But Deep Space Nine was like, no, I can't miss it. I can't miss an episode. So no, I get that. But anyway, Star City.
Chris, Chris just said, odd. I haven't rewatched Lower Decks as much as I liked it, huh? And I find that super notable. Because I will say that the live action Lower Decks that they did on,
that was fun.
Watched that one a few
times.
And
as have I.
I've rewatched that one, but no other.
I'll admit, and I even watched one time again the Pike episode of Discovery from season 2, where they go back to Talos 4.
Oh yeah,
because I really liked Melissa George as Vina, and I liked her and what's his face with the hair.
That one upset me.
Handsome out.
And the one with where they did, that's not even the same one, is it? Where they do the Guardian of Forever, and I hated that. I hated a guy named Carl.
Yeah, I hated that.
That I felt the same way about the Talos 4 episode. Like, why are you doing that?
Well, they missed the point on everything. They made the Telosians basketball tall, and it's like, no. The reason why they're tiny women playing these aliens and pretending that they're men is because their brains got so developed that their bodies atrophied, and now they are really small and weak. But again, these assholes don't know what they're doing, and they fuck with things and make it wrong. And again, we sound like children, but it's like, no, there's a reason. As I kept saying to the co-hosts like Franco and Wayne and Mitch and everything, it's like there's a reason why Larry and I have been reading Star Trek novels since the 70s and all this other, however they call the, like the Star Wars that's not canon, the extended universe.
Extended universe.
Yeah, the extended universe. Yeah, there's a reason why, because again, we love this shit. And also they used to vet these stories, and there was somebody at Paramount going, "No, I'm really sorry, you can't make a novel that way because Klingons don't work that way." Well, that went out the window with Schmucko being in charge. Schmucko the clown. Oh, but everybody's working really hard, so you really got to give a cut of some slack. No, we don't. No, we really don't. Make better fucking Star Trek. Or there's the door. Goodbye. And I really hope it is. We don't know yet, but I suspect the Alex Kurtzman show will end next year with the last seasons of both Academy and Strange New Worlds. That's my suspicion.
I don't see how they can keep going. I've been following all that, and isn't the end of August like the end of January was supposed to be live action photography had to be completed.
Yes,
it
did.
I think the end of August is all the post production has to be completed. So I think
as I understand it, well, again, a lot of this could be rumor. I am hearing that because the problem was too that part of Secret Hideout's deal was part ownership,
right?
And now the Ellisons don't want that. They want them gone, and they want to own everything, and they will set aside this era, but they won't. If they're smart, they'll still leave it on Paramount Plus for people that want to watch it.
There's no reason to take it off,
right? Or non-canonize it.
Well, because of the ownership thing, I think it'll be a de facto like ignoring of it because they just won't use it because they don't own everything.
Well, but no, actually, what I'm hearing is there was a big balloon payment to Kurtzman as a goodbye to give up that ownership.
Okay, good.
And it is like
that
it is supposedly the number I heard was $30 million for his company.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Like, give him whatever he wants to go away. Have Star Trek again, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think there's not going to be a bunch of people clamoring to have, Spock's sister show up again. So I think they're all good. They didn't really add anything to the Star Trek lore that I think is valuable.
Well, then that's valuable. All they did was blow shit up.
Yeah.
We blew up the Klingon world. Why? Because it's cool. We put Romulus and Vulcan together, and now it's Navarre. Why? Because it's cool. No, it really isn't. No, you're really fucking up.
And 1,000 years in the future, that's the one that I cannot get over.
And the burn.
Yeah, I mean, that's just idiocy. But, it's the whole, we said this from the beginning, me and John. It's like, they are literally asking us to think that Vikings have sailed into New York, and we all go, great, and give them seats at the United Nations.
Yeah, how do we solve our problems? Well, we used to sacrifice goats to Thor,
right?
Yeah, that's what we did. Oh, you people are so smart. It's ridiculous.
My big ding against those guys is that they're not science fiction writers, so they don't think through stuff that a science fiction fan 101 does without even being consciously aware of it.
Right.
I can do matter, antimatter, consumption, fuel reports in my head. Why? It's because it's made up, but that's a rule that has to be followed, or it's not Star Trek. You know what I mean? And they just
take too many shortcuts and shit writing, and also much like I don't know if you're a Doctor Who guy.
Yeah, love Doctor
Who. Okay, I like Jodie Whittaker. I didn't like Chris Chibnall as the showrunner, but I will say Chris Chibnall wrote Broadchurch. And he wrote the original British Life on Mars. Just like that, Kurtzman did Fringe. So,
I mean,
he's capable of writing other things, just not Star Trek.
The thing about Doctor Who that's great is, did you hear what happened? That the speaking of rumors, you're up to date, right? With
say it, and I'll say my thoughts on it.
So Rose Tyler, the last episode, it looks like Rose Tyler is regenerated into the Doctor, and everybody went, "What?" And it was obviously just kind of let's just give him a big finger on the way out, right?
Yeah.
And then that's the next guy's problem. Well, it turns out this is the rumor I heard that from the Tachyon Pulse guy who's really plugged into this stuff. So
Yeah, I love that guy.
But they said he said that the Christmas special was they don't have money and they're not going to do it, and it got bumped to Easter, and that's all like their spin. That Russell T Davies wrote the Christmas special 1,000,000 years ago, and that they cast the new Doctor 1,000,000 years ago, and that they shot the Christmas special at a time when no one knew what it was. So everybody now is under NDA and stuff, but nobody talked about it at the time because that was just the next thing. So who cares, right? But they did some of the secret stuff like with small crews, and it's just, you know, two guys talking in a gravel pit or something. It's just old Doctor Who. They didn't spend any money, but the rumor is that Disney let them shoot on the sets as they were disassembling them.
Wow.
And so there's a little stuff in the TARDIS, and I'm like, man, if they did that, finally they're treating it like a time travel show. Because the second I saw John Hurt as the War Doctor, like, I know he's dying of cancer, but just have him turn the camera on that guy, have him just say shit in front of green screen, and then use that as you will down through the years. And that's you have War Doctor stuff. Like, when are you gonna start treating this time travel show like a time travel show? And so that's why I hope that rumor is true.
Well, I hadn't heard that rumor. I thought you were going to talk about how the Sun was reporting that nobody wanted the role as the new Doctor.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, bullshit.
This thing I heard was this was this morning, and it was all in response to that crap. The Sun and the Guardian, they're all like, oh, they don't know what to do. And what's it? Doctor Who's probably canceled. I'm like, you people are out of your mind. They're just they're rolling it back to like, let's get the new guy run through a sand pit and toss a frisbee at him and say it's a, you know.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize Tachyon did a new Doctor Who video today.
Let's hope that's happening.
No, and I agree with you. And also, again, we didn't know who the fuck Matt Smith was. We barely knew who David Tennant was. I mean, Capaldi I knew. Whitaker I didn't know. And again, I don't blame her. I blame the writing. And they just want, like, there were too many companions.
I kind of liked her roles, actually.
Oh no, I think she played it well.
Yeah,
they just didn't give her, like, they kept breaking them up.
Yeah,
and so you had to follow Yaz for 10 minutes and the guy and Grandpa, and it's like, no, this is called Doctor Who. Can we find out what the Doctor's doing? I don't give a fuck about the companions that much.
Yeah. That near the end, they were kind of whiffing it. Like, it was the second you said Yaz, I'm like, I kind of like that character until she fell in love with the Doctor. Like,
it's okay. I mean,
over and over and over. It's just like,
because I didn't mind when Martha had the crush on David Tennant. I was okay with that. You know,
I actually like that.
Rose and David Tennant.
See, the early ones, they all kind of make sense, right? It's like Rose is just, that's a modern take. Of course, like, a hot girl is going to like the hot Doctor. Like, that's cool. And they sort of played it in the old days with Romana and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like so overt. But then I just noticed in the modern one, when they didn't know what to do, they just went, okay, well, let's get Martha. She loves the Doctor. And let's get this guy. And he loves the Doctor. And let's get this girl. And like, everybody loves the Doctor. It's kind of like, yeah, we get it. He's a cool guy that travels through the universe anytime and place you want to go. Of course you're going to fall in love with him. But can we just, like, have an adventure, please?
He's got to be, he's still got to be the alien. Yeah. And what worrying about, like, because again, it's going to go through obviously we're going through this reboot period now, and it might be another 2 years before we get any new Doctor Who. And Cornell is always, I love Paul, great guy, former Doctor Who writer himself.
Yeah.
Wrote some amazing Tennant episodes and Eccleston episodes and the paperbacks during the Wilderness years. Created Bernie Summerfield, one of the only, like, companions from the books and the audio. But yeah, he's like, it's going to be back. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why anybody thinks Doctor Who's going away.
No,
it'll be back. Maybe
they'll find a
15
partner.
years, and maybe he's going to be half human and have two hearts on Fox, and but he'll come back, and then they'll fix it again. And the whole thing.
I guess this year's the 30th anniversary of the McGann movie.
Is it really?
It was just crazy. But yeah, I saw some official Doctor Who channel
Oh, that's cool.
video that's on YouTube, and it's with McCoy and McGann talking about the Fox movie.
That's fantastic. I actually like that movie, but Danielle Pemberton, the companion.
Yes.
Follow this one. Mimi worked at Bank of America in the mid 90s on their first website, which is kind of cool. And so the crew that worked on there is like just Silicon Valley Avengers. But one of the people was Craig Newmark of Craigslist. And
wow,
there's just former San Diego Chargers players. It was an insane crew. And one of them was this kid named Danilo, who's a really cool guy. And then this Doctor Who comes out and he goes, hey, I was talking to Mimi about it. I went to pick her up and he goes, you like Doctor Who? I'm like, yeah, man, I love Doctor Who. I went through the whole thing. Watch it at 7:30 in the morning. I get ready for school, you know. And he goes, I don't really know anything about it, but I'm going to be watching this Fox movie. And I go, well, that's super interesting. Like, you don't know anything about Doctor Who. What is attracting you to this one? He goes, funny choice of words. It's one of the actresses in it that was my prom date in high school. And so every time somebody talks about that, I'm like, it's not that Eric Roberts is the master, although he's amazing. It's not that they do a proper regeneration. It's not that. It's that Danielle Pemberbrook, or whatever her name is, was Daniel's prom date. So
no, and McGann,
I love that.
Ever since that movie, he made a ton of great audio Big Finish adventures, and that little Time of the Doctor where he regenerated into the War Doctor.
Right,
that little 8-minute short was really good.
Fantastic.
And I like that he's popped up in the modern era, and I like the way they position the older actors as like they brought everybody back that's still alive and wanted to do it.
I've said this for a million years. I'm like, I don't understand why the BBC just didn't do an 8-episode show called 8, and it's just him, and you legitimize him, and everybody can shut up, and then you got another doctor to show up when you want to do 3 doctors or 5 doctors, or cyber doctors or whatever you want to do. Bring him. I don't understand why that hasn't happened. He's right there, and he's great.
The Big Finish. They've done multiple doctor stories too, and they're great. And they get like John Colshaw to imitate John Pertwee, and it's letter perfect.
That's cool.
And of all people, Jamie Fraser Hines from the Troughton era imitates Patrick Troughton and does it quite well. And it's it's like, it's wonderful. I mean, and I like the old man that was the on-camera first Doctor in the Capaldi era. David, whatever his last name is.
I don't remember, but he was great.
But that one, that Christmas episode where he regenerates into Jodie Whittaker. But they're a whole adventure with that Capaldi Doctor and the first Doctor. Funny as hell.
Yeah, fantastic. I love that one. And I loved the Adventures in Time and Space. Did you see that one?
Yes, the movie, the making of. The making of movie.
And he played him as an actor playing that.
Hard no.
I thought that was great.
I just saw this weekend that the Doctor Who channel animated the Celestial Toymaker. I really want to see that also because the guy who played Alfred in the Michael Keaton Batman movies was the Toymaker originally. I know that's complicated.
Michael Goff, that one.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and the character kind of leaned towards being Asian, even though it was a British white guy playing him. So that's problematic, and I absolutely respect that. I don't understand why they dropped the Celestial part though, when they brought him back as Neil Patrick Harris and said just the Toymaker. But apparently that's problematic in some way. And again, forgive the senior citizen white guy that doesn't know what the hell the problem is.
Yeah. I seem to remember it's like Celestial. It was kind of like Oriental for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, again, I accept the changes in the societal norms. I still don't understand why the Orient, which is a region, is problematic, because to me, that's like not knowing somebody from Europe and referring to them as European. And no, it's not specific, and that's too bad. but you may just have a lack of information. And I don't know. It's to the point we had a theater downtown in Chicago, the Oriental Theater. They've changed the name of it because of that.
Yeah.
I get it. And I'm not against it, but I'm like, I still, it confuses me.
I'm Koloth about that, just Jadzia, my old friend, or Kurzon, my old friend. Oh, I'm Jadzia now. Jadzia, my old friend. Just tell me your pronouns, man. I don't care.
Kiss me.
We can't use Oriental anymore. Okay.
I'm the same. No, and again, all right.
But
whatever. But again, with the banner Star City, it's great. It looks like it's going to be as properly complicated as For All Mankind in the best way.
Yes.
And I love this season of For All Mankind. I love where it's gone. But I really want us to stay, and I assume we will for this series. I hope we stay in the 70s because I really think everything that happened with the moon bases. I mean, that's the thing, everybody. If you haven't seen For All Mankind, because the Russians beat us to the moon, the NASA's response is, well, we need a base on the moon. And now the race is who's going to have the first moon base and stuff between the Soviets and the U.S.
What I like, that's why I asked you if you had seen a few episodes of this season, because
I've seen a few.
Loved the first two seasons. I think the second season of For All Mankind is the best television in the last 10 years.
That's the Jamestown in the moon base,
hands down. And then I'm into most of the third season too, because that's what they're dealing with, the right stuff and the American can-do attitude and all that. And then when they get to Mars, and then this last season that's coming up, it's just straight science fiction now. It's not alt history. There's no.
It's a little bit of both.
There's no real interaction with historical characters, though, is there? I mean, there's nobody from. They're all just like, it's Mars is doing their independence now.
Well, yeah, and you're right. And the world politics have gone a different way, and then you have different characters who have been president, etc.
Exactly. It's that there's been so much of a change in the cast that like there are characters I like now. I love the Russian governor. He was one of the supporting characters in Homeland. He was, and I love that actor. He was just he was great. And so it's not bad, but it's just not what I liked. I liked all the alt history, and this is just, it's heading towards a future where, because Russia got to the moon first, then we get Star Trek or The Expanse or whatever. That's, that because this one they're finding life on Mars and life on Titan, and that the last season is going to be the ramifications of finding extraterrestrial life, and maybe ET shows up at the end. It's just, but that's like, I want guys that are going, I'm doing that because no one's done it before.
But I liked the complication of the North Korean astronaut.
Yeah, I mean,
was a brilliant surprise and everything that's happening with him. And I like the black market that developed on Mars. Yeah. I mean,
I just brought that up because I want Star City to be that. Like, give me stuff in the 60s, give me stuff in the 70s, give me stuff in the 80s. Just follow the same track. And like, man, if they have actors showing up, like maybe somebody has to talk to Ed Baldwin, in 1972.
Sure.
And like, or Gordo, maybe, like everybody.
Well, that's the thing. Does Apollo Soyuz still happen?
Oh, it does, doesn't it? It does.
I don't remember them doing it during For All Mankind.
Not in the show itself, but they do all this ancillary stuff.
They acknowledge, all the timeline stuff.
Yeah, I think that was in the timeline that they still.
Well, then maybe we'll see it fleshed out or whatever.
The only reason I think that is because there's an Apollo Soyuz patch in these For All Mankind patches. So
wow.
Let's see.
Let's find it.
Let's see. This one I love. This is when Tracy's on.
Yeah. Jamestown is the moon base for the audio audience that the Americans established.
There you go. Apollo Soyuz.
Oh, there you go. Apollo Soyuz. Yeah, there you go.
So I guess it happens, but they don't. It's not a story point.
Yeah, it wasn't a major story point. No, I agree, man. I would like to see some
These
interaction with the
patches are
United
great,
States.
man. If you
What's
like
that?
the show, the patches they did patches for the 2 seasons. Like this is a sea dragon.
Huh.
Anyway, I love patches and heraldry and
Were those official or did somebody on Etsy make those?
No, yeah, those were official licensed for all mankind.
And you got a friend that worked on the show that you were able to get them?
Oh no, these are commercially available.
Okay.
It's got Ron Moore's autograph on it.
Oh, that's great.
Wow. They did. It's cool.
I met him briefly at San Diego one year, and he was really nice. And I'm like, God, I'd love to have you on Word Balloon. And he's like, I don't have the time. I'm like, it's totally fine. That's John Delancey told me. Like, he's like, well, and I'm like, John, no is an acceptable answer. I am not going to hassle you. Don't worry. Yeah. So I'm like, you're not embarrassing me, and you're not. I was slightly disappointed, but I'm like, this is fine meeting you. Don't worry about it. It's okay.
I kind of don't even ask people because it's like the entire planet has a some kind of podcast. So
well, believe me, I know.
But so me at this point, I'm no John Santres, right? But every once in a while, one of the executive producers of the modern Star Trek is Guy Allen, and he was circling around Astronauts in Trouble to do and we had tons of really good conversations. So every once in a while, man, my son loves John Cena, and John Cena's first movie was the Marine, which he wrote. So every once in a while, I'm like, "Hey, man, can you want to talk about Star Trek?" And he's like, "Not on your show."
That's outstanding.
Just because
well, that's what Stan Lee
all of
did.
These guys are super professional and polite,
sure.
And there's things that they can't talk about, and that's
true.
That's literally all I want to hear, and he knows that, right?
No,
maybe he'll tell me, trade some
emails or something.
I'll hear a little something here and there. Lots of people tell me lots of stuff, but he can't get on.
No, I understand that, and I have friends that are in similar search.
Oh, I'm sure. No, that's what I'm saying. If I have one of those guys, you have 100. So
well, and again, it's fine.
You know that, like, no, we understand. No is an acceptable answer.
Well, yeah, and also, again, it's like, hey, I'm not here to fuck up your job or your company's marketing plan for my little fucking podcast. Give me a break. It's like, no, I get it. It's all right. And also, I just love the people that do have their podcasts and they think they're Woodward and Bernstein. And it's like, it's fucking comic books. Calm down.
We're just all enthusiasts, man.
Yeah. We're all having exactly. That's what somebody interviewed me. Yeah. Somebody interviewed me this week. They sent me a questionnaire. And they're like, do you think your podcast has impacted the comic book readership or industry? I'm like, no. It's an entertainment show.
John, it absolutely has.
No, but it's just I'm an enthusiastic fan that is giving a forum to these people to talk about the characters they're writing and or acting or whatever and what their thoughts are. And again, that's why that Inglorious Trexperts with the Strange New Worlds cast, it's like, we get the script and we do it. And I don't mean to dismiss them, but it's like, no, if you really want to know motivations of characters, you go to the writers because they're the ones that are making this stuff. And they're the ones that are really doing the heavy lifting thinking wise about, well, no, we want to position Pike this way. We want to position Chapel that way, so.
Yeah. I
But
learned that lesson as a kid really fast. I loved Battlestar Galactica. So when was that? 77. So I was like 14 or 15. And I had an occasion. I went to Washington, D.C. on this big shot high school thing. And we got to do all kinds of stuff, political stuff. And one of the things as a break was to go see this Broadway play that was in town in D.C. And we would get to talk to the actors afterwards. And I was like, this is a dream for me. It's the first time I get to talk to professional actors. I'm looking at the playbill. I'm not even paying attention to the play itself because I'm reading all the actors to see if I know them, and I don't because they're theater people. But I read all their credits and like, oh, they appeared in Three's Company or this or that. And there's this one guy that appeared in the Fire in Space episode of Battlestar Galactica. I'm fucking freaking out. I'm like, I love that one. This is great. I got 100 questions. So they get up, they do the play. They come out at the stage after the audience leaves. And there's about 30 of us, I guess. And we go up to the front. And they're like, hey, what are you guys doing here? Do you have any questions? I'm like, this is a question for Joe Schmo over there. I was reading the playbill and blah, 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 blah. And you did this and did that. And I just want to know if you have any interesting actor stories about being in this episode. And somebody walks over and gives him this microphone. He goes, yeah, it was just a gig, man. Gives the microphone away. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess that's a good lesson. It's a job. And like any job, you are successful at it by, how good you are, how serious you take it, all these other factors. But the end of it is it's just a gig, man.
I hear you. Although depends on the actor, because I did a panel.
Of course.
Well, I did a panel with Ethan Peck and Rose Gooding, three names, who plays Uhura. I know. I'm sorry, everybody. It's hard enough to remember two names. When you got three names, it's like, there's only so many Mary Tyler Moores.
I just called Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Joseph Gordon, three names for the.
There you go. Yeah, well, and I did. That's a name that I remember.
Thank God it's not just me. I can't remember.
Brian Michael Bendis, I remember because it was drummed in my head, so I understand. Yeah. But anyway, after the panel we did, this Asian gentleman walks up because he's on the next panel, and he's a big animation voiceover guy. And he goes, I was on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And I'm like, oh, my God, it's Buck Bokai. And it was fantastic. And I shook his hand. It could not have been nicer. And
you pull out the baseball card. Here, can you sign this?
I have the baseball card. And I'm trying to get him on the show, on Word Balloon. And he said, as I was telling you off there, I was dealing with this hell job in broadcasting for a month. Now that I'm out of it, I can get back and try and get him on the show. But no, I love that guy. I also love the guy from Kim's Convenience that showed up in the Star Wars stuff as one of the X-Wing fighters. It's like, no, that's awesome. So, or another panel. I turned down a panel at C2E2 this year because it was mostly about a game, and I don't play the game. Yeah. But one of the older actors, was the guy from Voyager that was Barclay's supervisor in the episodes where Barclay finds Voyager. And Starfleet
they had that long distance. Yeah.
And he's the bald guy that's like his commander. Yeah.
He was in the game thing.
Yeah. He was one of the voices in this video game, and I'm like, cool. I blew it. I'm like, oh my God, I totally would have been like, hey, Star Trek, talk to me.
Yeah.
But probably would have gotten the same response that you did. I don't know, man.
Just
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Well, anyway, Star City, outstanding. Yep. Jump on it on Apple. I think every Wednesday new episodes come out, and there's two. They started with two, so you've got two.
Yeah, I got Walker and Mimi are watching the first one right now, or they probably finished during our thing. So I'm gonna go up and catch the second one with them.
Cool. Well, I won't keep you then, my man.
I mean,
this was great. You did good.
Keep going if you want. Well, thanks, John. It's always a joy talking to you.
I feel the same way, man.
You know that.
And I appreciate you always coming back, and we have good conversations. And yeah, everybody, the Dork Court is where you can see Larry Young and Walker, and occasionally John Price.
John actually, he's he's got the twins.
Yes.
So he teaches at Starfleet Academy. He teaches at a high school in Virginia. So I think school is just about over now for him. So it'll be easier to get him to talk. And the new Star Trek starts July 23rd, I think, right?
You got it, man.
Yeah, so definitely we'll be doing that. That's in the middle of San Diego. So I don't know if we'll do it from the hotel, but definitely the week after.
Oh, I hope you do. I love when people are in, like Burnett. Rob Burnett does that.
Yeah,
we'll do a show or two from San Diego. I love that. And if I were out there, I would do it. I used to record when I would record old shows before I went live. Art Franco and I would record in the hotel room and stuff and do episodes, of course.
For us, though, we're there for business. So when I get back to the hotel room, I watch whatever's on Adult Swim and then pass out of sleep.
Oh, I hear you, man. I know.
It's just getting old.
No,
this will be our 30th year, man.
Wow.
Yeah. Can you imagine? I don't remember getting this old.
Well, again, I was doing the math, and as I was telling Shaken on last Monday, started in radio. My first pro job was literally 41 years ago.
Yeah, that's insane.
So I get it. I get it.
Yeah, we're good.
What are you going to do? That's all right. Hey, we're still here. We're still here, and we're still vibrant.
You know what it is?
Court,
it's because we're good people that just work really hard at what we do, and everyone should support us because we're just such nice people.
No question. That's very true. So check out Dork Court.
That's what Alex
every
Kurtzman
week
says.
What's that?
I said that's what Alex Kurtzman says.
Yeah.
We're just really
everybody works so hard. We all work very hard.
We're just nice people. So
yeah. This is gonna be a great week on Word Balloon. Tony Fleece coming on tomorrow, talk about Deathstroke and his wonderful book. I want to say Prey. It's about the cats surviving. It's a great horror story, and I'm probably saying it wrong. I apologize. Tuesday, Rod Rice is doing a Supergirl book, and we're going to talk to him. And then Wednesday, Elliot S. Maggin is back because Elliot has not only written his novel LexCorp, but now he has a podcast where he's reading chapter by chapter.
Oh, that's cool.
He's done it for all of his Superman, Last Son of Krypton related and Miracle Monday books.
Oh, that's
and
neat.
Now he's doing it for LexCorp, and it's so great that however he got permission to write LexCorp is great, but this is a guy that has been writing Superman adult stories since the 70s that didn't really tie into the movie, but he got he sent a script treatment that got rejected by the studio, and he was very smart and went 2 floors down to Warner Books and said, "Hey, you got a Superman movie coming out. You want an original Superman story?" Yes, we do. And that's how Last Son of Krypton was created. And he had such great success with that. He got to do Miracle Monday as a second novel. And then he was sitting on this Citizen Lex, or rather LexCorp book for years. And now he's finally doing it, or he did it. And we're going to talk about that and a lot more. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with Word Balloon. So that's the plan right now.
Dan Shaheen and I interviewed him about, I was really into his technical blueprint cutaway things back in the day.
Sure.
And, I got to talk to him about Last Son of Krypton a little because I was like 14 or something when that came out. And I bought that paperback immediately. And I loved that it said by Elliot S. Maggin, but the S had an exclamation point. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever when I was a kid.
Sure. No, it's
so then I got to be an old man and tell him that. And he was like, yeah, cool. He just didn't care.
Him and Carrie Bates.
That meant something to me when I was a boy.
Well, that's why I love that I'm friends with Paul Kupperberg,
Yeah.
who came at the end of that era. I miss my friend Marty Pasco. Pasco and I got very close up until his passing.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's sweetheart of a guy. And again, I'll watch shows like Buck Rogers or Simon and Simon, and I'll see Marty's name in the writing credits. It's like, yeah, Marty, way to go, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
Not forgotten. So, but Carrie Bates, of course. But yeah, Carrie Bates and Elliot Maggin and Denny O'Neil, they were my storytellers when I was little. And to have the opportunity, I'm still hoping to get Carrie on. We'll see what happens.
Man,
but I got Elliot and I got Denny on several hours, and it's like that's fantastic. If only my 7-year-old self would have known what was coming.
Yes.
So. Yes.
I'm just excited, like as a fan of Word Balloons. I love that you're still doing the PDF magazines, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. In fact,
I know you've been busy this month, but like maybe you should think about doing at least that Denny O'Neil one. Can you get a transcript of that?
Well, yeah. Honestly, man, I'm for the book. I'm really kind of like my editor Owen, who's fast asleep because he's in Ireland. We discuss it all the time.
Oh,
and
okay.
as much as I've got, I got enough material for like 10 books. But
I
really,
you're like the Playboy interview guy, man.
I am like the Playboy.
No, it's just we're talking about stuff that makes us happy, but like you understand like other crazy stuff about the industry, and you present it in a really like easily digestible way. And I just
thank you, man.
Super admire what you're
well,
doing.
The next, and this is actually a good opportunity to say, in the coming days, to start June off, I will have the next transcribed issue, and it's Mike Carlin. Mike Carlin.
Oh, sweet.
Interview. And it was great. We really covered a lot of Superman stuff, obviously.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love Mike.
He's great. No, it was a great
I
conversation.
got a rejection letter from Mike.
I know others that have also gotten rejection letters.
Mine's hanging up right over there. I got 3 rejection letters, and I went, I'm just going to do it myself.
And if you missed my conversation with Howard Chaykin on Memorial Day, it was epic. He was very much on his game. It was frightening.
I started listening to it, and I haven't finished it, but I love how you guys started, because it's you do your thing, and Howard's just like, oh yeah, hey, what's happening? He was like super chill. I was just like, okay, I gotta finish this. This is great.
Well, and also because I did that radio job, my laptop has been fighting me, especially before getting into the swing again of doing these live streams. And it really, like, it was fucking up, and I was ready to cancel and say, Howard, we got to postpone. And he's like, all right, no problem. And thank God I got it to work right at 2 minutes after I hung up with him. And I'm like, how do I get him back? I can email him. I'm like, wait a minute, I have a cell number. And I text or I call him. And I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry, but I got it. And he goes, oh yeah, no problem, I'll come back. And then we did 90 minutes. It was fantastic. So.
Yeah, I'll definitely finish that up. He's a great artist. I love his work.
Again, we were the right age, man. We got it.
Yeah,
we understood.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, everybody. So big week on Word Balloon Live. We started things off with Larry. June will be another outstanding. I'm holding back on some big names that are already in, both current stars and classic stars. You will be very, very happy with June, just as you were in May. So until next time, everybody stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. Later. Oh, there it is. There.